I ought to break a broom handle off in your ass.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the official Duke Nukem Reloaded podcast. Today with me I have Frederik.
Hi guys.
We have Adam Plowman, a senior 3D artist.
Hey.
And we have Khaled. So today we'll be discussing sort of the technology behind the game, the Unreal Development Kit. So like Frederik, like why did you choose UDK? Like what was the sort of the reasons you chose it basically?
Well, first of all, it's because the UDK is free, and it's a great engine. It lets us produce something relatively quickly, get models in, get level design done. It's a pretty handy software that pretty much everyone can dig into and start creating something amazing.
So Adam, what does UDK allow you to do then as an artist? Like what benefits does it have?
Oh, with UDK, it makes things pretty simple when you want to, see something really quickly in game. You could just throw it in there and check out exactly what you wanted to see. Especially with the material editor, you just make anything look like anything you want it to look like. It's the exporting process is extremely simple, and pretty much everything about it is perfect for this project.
So could you perhaps cite some examples of like good uses of the UDK or the end?
Like, say even for, you've made a scene and it looks great in your render in Maya Max, whatever software you're using, and you throw your geo and your textures into UDK, and you can run around in there, take a closer look at things in real time with effects and all that kind of stuff.
You can also say that there are a lot of good examples out there of really great UDK products, like Primal Carnage or The Ball, who I think The Ball won the Make Something Unreal contest. Those are also great examples of great UDK games. So it's a natural to use that engine development kit.
And Khaled, as a producer, like what benefits does it give you?
Well, I think the reason to use UDK is, first of all, it's very easy for everyone to get in touch with it fairly quickly. First of all, it's actually free to just download it, install it, and use it immediately. Secondly, it's being provided with so much tutorials, and there's a huge community behind it. So whoever wants to just jump in and has some basic knowledge of scripting or using any other engines, let's say for instance Half-Life engine, you can just jump in and learn quickly about UDK, which saves us a lot of time, especially with a project like this where we need the manpower and we need specialized people just coming in and trying to get to know UDK as fast as possible, basically.
How is it to go from the Killzone engine, if there's an engine, to UDK? Is it like a huge process, or does it seem similar?
Well, the thing is, that's of course an in-house engine. That's something that took years to build on. The same goes for UDK, of course, but UDK, they decided to share with the world, while the other engine is basically a private engine. So it's very different if you take a look at how the support goes. I mean, when you make something from scratch, you know exactly how everything works, so you can build upon that. As for UDK, you of course get, let's say you get like all the fundamental stuff, but it's more difficult to get exactly the things you want incorporated with UDK. And I'm really talking about like down to the code and down to like how UDK works as an engine itself. That's something that, of course, it's not open source. So
sorry, so like outside of the UDK, what tools do you use to sort of create assets for it?
Well, I swap between actually Maya and Max. I usually model in Maya, and then I throw whatever I've done into Max, apply the textures, and then just export from there, because it just makes it way easier without getting some sort of external exporter. And then, just textures done in Photoshop and normals in ZBrush.
So, like,
great.
If as a beginner, what would you say to them to use software-wise? Would you recommend, like, what's the industry standard right now for creating assets?
Well, at the moment, it's between Maya and Max, and I haven't really seen one used more than the other from the places that I've worked at. But, I don't really have one that I prefer either. I like them both. I would say just, learn one of the two and then learn the other one as well.
And what about you, Frederik? Is a lot of your work involved in the UDK, or do you use tools outside of it, or anything like that?
Well, I actually prefer to work with everything I can. Well, it started out being just me creating something using UT3, which is very similar to UDK. Just placing a few assets on an empty map and trying to recreate a scene from Duke Nukem. But I really love to work and craft with the software. So that's one of the reasons why I'm also the lead level designer on the team.
Well, we will be expecting JLo's concept art next week, stick figures and whatnot.
Well, JLo will get a pretty big role on the development team later on because he's cinematic producer on Killzone, and he will work with in-game cinematics once we get started with the single-player component. So his role will actually be relatively big development-wise when we get further along.
Yeah, the fun thing is, back in the days before I got into all the gaming stuff, I was actually doing movies, directing, doing visual effects, special effects. So I'm quite familiar with interface. Well, I haven't used Maya that much. I tried the last 6 months, but I noticed that because I used 3D Max a lot more, I was just used to that. So I really love the interface of 3D Max, but because Autodesk basically bought both of the companies, they're now trying to merge the interfaces to make it easier for cross users. But for me, it's I do miss the things like visual effects where I can just go into a scene and just basically do all the things that I think is required to complete the scene and just visualize it the way that I would do it as I would direct the scene. So it's always nice to combine the role of a director with a visual effects supervisor, and especially with projects like this, when you get a chance to do that, it's so much easier to just give it everything and try to make the best of it, because you get all these roles you can fulfill. Or effectiveness, sorry, that's it.
Effectiveness, yeah.
Effectivity.